Couple general concepts. Wow, I'm totally wasting your time right now. A couple of general concepts of texting. Texting versus calling is a question of immediacy versus investment. We talked about sometimes you are with a girl and she can't text you, right? Because she's like doing something. Like I'm out with my mom for lunch or something. I can text a girl, but I can't call her. In a lot of cases too, most girls, specifically when you first meet them and when you first call, they're not sure whether they want to invest the attention that it takes to call you. You start calling girls from clubs right away, specifically in LA, I'll say is where I tested this fact. Like 80% of girls will send you to voicemail the first call that you make. And if you leave a good message, 50% of them will call you back within like 5 minutes. And they'll be like, oh, sorry, I was in the shower. Bullshit. There are inappropriate times to call. Sometimes a girl's at work. She can text you. She can't call you. It's, you know, it's just a fact of life. That's why we got to incorporate both of these things. If she texts you after your call, it can mean, you know, it can mean a couple things, but most specifically, it will mean either she's not ready to invest in the attention that it will take to make a phone call. You know, a lot of girls that don't like talking on the phone really just have bad experiences because like dudes are boring on the phone, right? Or it means she really, really likes you and she can't talk on the phone right now. So what I will do in most cases is I will send a text that says, like I'll send my voicemail is, hey, it's Gareth. I just thought of the most ridiculous thing I had to tell you. Give me a call back, number, right? She'll text me back right away. What was that thing you had to tell me? Question mark. I'm like, fuck, I just want to get you on the phone, right? Because the most powerful first interaction is going to be on the phone. I'll say, oh, we can talk about it when you call. Here's something to write down here. The first text, always what I do is I say, when I first meet a girl, I will text a girl and it'll say, hey, it's Gareth, save this number because it's the most important one you'll ever get. Little sarcastic, little arrogant, little cocky funny, boom, smiley face, okay? I stand true to the things I teach you. There are 2 times that we can send this that are pretty fucking awesome. The first time is I always say the next day before you wake up, or after you wake up, like early afternoon, not late in the evening. The purpose of this text is so that she'll register it. She'll see you. You know, the next day you'll pop up in her mind. You know, maybe you'll start over the text conversation. You know, oh, haha, thanks. How was your night last night? I also like to do it in the club before 2 a.m. We say 2 a.m. here, kind of, because it's just you want to send it before things get a little bit messy. Because the point is that she has to see this text and has to register in her mind. I'll send it in the club because let's say this. Meet a girl, you go out 11 o'clock, right? Yeah, party mates. You game this girl till 11:30. She's really into you, you're into her, but you got to go hang out with your friends. She's got to go do her thing. You swap numbers. You go back to your table or whatever, and then you text her and say, hey, you know, blah, 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 save this number, most important whenever you get. Now, how many of you guys have been at a club where you've been talking to a girl and she's like leaning up against the wall like, oh yeah, it's really cool, and you're like, oh, they got a Porsche, I gotta go to Blue Mountains, and she's like, oh yeah, all right, and she pulls out her phone and starts going, beep, 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 right? Women don't give a lot of clear rejection signals. Women are never going to be, well, I won't say never, but a lot of times women aren't like, hey, listen, you're a super nice guy, but I'm just not feeling this conversation right now. So like maybe we could go, like let's go talk to some other girls. Like maybe you could try those girls over there. They'll be like, yeah, I wish they would, right? Not long hair, I'm not into it. Okay, all right, cool, fuck off. A lot of times they'll do things like, oh, you gotta go to the bathroom, or oh, my friends are, okay. Or they'll just like pull out their phone and start texting, like get the hint, buddy, right? Okay. So what happens is PUA, you know, John or whatever is over here and he's like macking on this girl. So she takes out her phone to be like, maybe he'll get the hint and piss off. She sees your text. Hey, it's Gareth, save this number, it's the most important one you'll ever get. She'll text you right back. Not because like you're a brilliant text seducer, but because like she wants to look busy so she can get rid of this dude. And she'll usually send you something like, ha 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 ha. So then you're at the other side of the club and you get this text and it's like beep 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 beep. And you're like, all right, cool. Ha 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 ha. You gotta start looking for that girl. So you look around the corner, and there she is, right? PUA John's like, ugh. So you send the text, hey, how's it going with that guy? And she'll get that text, and she'll be like, the guy. And she'll be like, he can see me. Like, where the fuck is he? And then you're over at the other side of the club going, that guy, yeah. She's gonna tell that dude to fuck straight off. She's gonna walk right over to you and be like, I can't believe you did that. Buying temperature is up. She thinks you're funny. You started texting her, and then she's back talking to you at the club. She's reapproached you. You know, it doesn't happen very often, but it's hilarious and super awesome when it does happen. I think I only have a couple minutes here left, so I'm going to kind of scroll through this shit.
You need to take a little more, Gareth.
Yeah, is that all right? You came a long way. Too much information. All right. So when we talk about cocky, funny stuff, it is useful, okay? And we use it in something we call low investment texting. I don't really have a lot of time for that. But what is great for cocky, funny stuff is the idea of maintaining a regular presence. This is what we talked about. If you can't catch up with a girl, you still want to remain in her life. So what I want to do is I want to send, you're already reading ahead, you bastards. What I want to do is I want to send her something funny, something crazy, or something interesting. These are ones I've sent. I met this girl, and she had the most fantastic body I have ever seen. And she's from Idaho, and Indiana. And she was just gorgeous. And she was like, I'm a nutrition student. And I was like, yeah, can I lick your abs? You know, she's super hot. And then I was in an airport like a month later, and I sat down next to this girl, and she was like, lovely girl, okay? She's a bit roly-poly. And I was like, oh, that's cool. What are you studying, you know? And she's like, oh, I'm studying nutrition. And I was kind of like, I have this thing where I don't say the phrase really, because it gets me in trouble a lot, because it would have been like, really? You know? so I channeled that energy, and I put it into this text, and I sent it to that girl. I just popped up in her life, you know? Oh my God, just watched a dude on a bike run into a parked car. Wear your helmet today. I've sent that to a whole bunch of people. It's never really happened, but it's a good way to either start a conversation or just be, you know, silly, funny. If I can make her laugh and I have to, like, you know, pull some strings, whatever. There's the weirdest dude ever at the Starbucks I'm in. Reminded me of you. I put a wink because I'm obviously just being silly. Another one of my favorite ones that I had great success with, but a lot of guys didn't have success with, so I stopped teaching it. But I think you guys will appreciate it. As I used to send, hey, I just built something for you and it's finally finished. Google Taj Mahal and it should show up. At least you guys get it. Not useful at all apparently, but it like makes me feel good. Another thing, you can use questions. Red or white wine is a really is one that I really like to do. Do you like popcorn while you watch movies? And then you start that kind of escalation. You can work towards a date. A joke. This one's really good. Knock knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Orange. You're gonna say you miss me? Okay, that's cheesy. I know it's cheesy. Allay those thoughts in your mind, lest I explain. Knock knock. Okay. Let's say I'm talking. We're gonna try this. This may make me look like a fool. Let's say I'm talking to all of you guys as a group, and you're allowed to talk back. Okay. And I say, knock knock. Who's there? Social obligation, right? So we can use that to use compliance, right? I got them all to comply. Using compliance, using the leader-follower frame. Knock knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? And then I just say something funny at the end. Aren't you glad you didn't miss me? I also like to say, aren't you glad I didn't say banana? Because that's like, it's like the end half of the joke. So I'm saying the part that doesn't really make sense, but everybody knows that joke. Conversation hook. This is actually from Tim. Tim, when we met in Hollywood, he came up to me. We talked a lot about texting. He was really interested, so we got to have a good sit down. And he was like, I'm gonna get you with a good conversation starter. So like all week he'd be texting me like, wow, these crazy girls are here. And I was like, no, that doesn't work. And then he'd be like, hey, do you like muffins? And I'd be like, that doesn't work either. And then I was sitting at my computer and he literally sent me a text that was like, dude, I have a crazy story for you. And I was like, what? And he's like, gotcha. And he said to me, my favorite phrase I've ever heard anybody say to me, put that in your text game program and smoke it. So fucking guess what? I put it in my text game program. Whenever you have a conversation, always try to end first and end upbeat so it doesn't peter out. A lot of times in text conversations, guys don't get to that point. They don't work towards what they're trying to work towards, right? So it ends up petering it out. Always try to control that interaction. Yep. All right, so seduction over text. All right, good. We're winding it up. Now, I get a lot of questions about the act of seduction over text. In ABCs of Attraction, we break down the in-person interaction into a system of 6 steps. A, B, C, D, E. What's the last one? F, yeah. So we can do this over text through sexual escalation too. A, approach. This is how we're going to start, right? We know how to start. Bait to engage. Hey, what was the name of that club last night? Hey, what was the name of that drink you had? Any particular style that you know works. A bait is something that requires a response. In relationships, like in different relationships, the bait is always different. Like if I'm, texting my friend James or texting a girl I've been dating for a year, I don't have to like use social obligation. A bait can be anything like, yo, what are you doing? Like, hey, what's up? Yo, something as simple as that. What was the name of that club last night? It's the easiest one. B is the banter phase of our stage. The purpose of this is to raise her emotional level so we get to the hook point, so that she is enjoying our conversation so much she would rather be having the conversation than not having the conversation, right? We're using our cocky, funny stuff. We're using our routines, our BT spikes, whatever it is that you guys have that raises her emotional level. C is for comfort. We want to establish that connection, the game is played in comfort. This is building that connection, getting to know her, and having her get to know you too is really an important part. In the ABCs of attraction, comfort leading questions. Things like, what wakes you up in the morning? What are you really passionate about? I always say, hey, what wakes you up in the morning? Girls go, my alarm clock. And I go, no, but seriously, what are you passionate about? Your DHV stories, the stories that you have that represent who you are, if you have some of that prepackaged stuff, or if you're just a good storyteller. When we get to D, D is the point where we're going to start moving on the sexuality. Dominance, direct, dirty talk. This is language-based escalation. This is once we've gotten her over text, it's very different than in person because we can't give her that body language. We can't give her that sensual stare. We can't give that sexual energy. We have to incorporate the sexual energy into language. Now, how do we do that? What we want to do is create a fantasy situation using we and conspiracy theories, which will allow you to escalate in what-if scenarios. This is like holy jargon, right? Okay, so let's go back through this. Create a fantasy situation using we. Okay, we is great. My favorite conspiracy theory idea is like when you're at a bar with a girl and you say something like, whoa, we're like the best ones dressed here. Look at everybody else. And it puts them all on their own little category. And suddenly it's you two against everyone else.